it so happens that our character is on a windswept, rocky, shrubby path up there in the mountains, and that the who knows what they're up there for or doing, but let us say that the there's quite a good reason, whatever it may be, for them to be tromping around seeking a thing up there.
Right.
Right. And all this various other information suddenly comes all too horribly clear because the wasted, desiccated body of the monk has now, heaved out from between cracks in the rocks, with grave wrappings shredding off it, right, as it's coming toward them. And of course, he's feeling his very soul get sucked out by the presence of this thing, let alone the whole carnivory problem, which is just behind. So, so far, so good. And we'll pretend that we're amazing role players, and like 7 different things that have been floating around as elements in the situation all suddenly make horrible sense.
Yes.
Right. And so all the more reason to realize that the thing that your guy seeks is in fact here. Damn it. Somewhere I know it's got, okay, with this going on, I'm in the right place. I have got to go find the thing, but I have a problem. So what you would do, the first thing I would do is I would say, Sean, this situation, I have decided that you get 1 gift die.
Okay.
So take a die and move it in front of you, and that's your gift die. I can give you 0, 1, 2, or 3 gift dice.
Okay.
More is better for you. So if I say no gift dice, you're like, oh God, Ron. And I'm like, forget it. This is it's all you on this one. There's nothing in the universe helping you on this one. You're whereas here you're like, okay, this is nasty, but it's not. The whole universe doesn't hate me anyway. So you can call it difficulty if you want to. That's a euphemism, as you know. So so you got your 1 gift die. Now you can pick one of your traits. In the pool, there's a way that you came up with, like, how many of your traits have numbers on them, and how that leaves you with a certain number of dice for your starting pool. Suffice to say, it's a nice little balance system, and it's done. Okay, we're not going to go through that. So right now we're going to be looking at, would you have really blasted your starting pool down to beef up that religious talisman, or is it just like, most people just start with a +1 on a few traits and leave the rest in their pool. We'll just say you did that. Okay.
Yeah, that's
so
fine.
You would pick an asset to use. Your uncle's off the beam here. Your uncle ain't helping you today. Right?
No, not at all.
So, and you've got several other traits, and let's just say there are a few others that you could pick. But let's say you pick the religious talisman.
Yes. Okay.
Right.
So that's another die, I guess.
Yes, because it's a +1.
Okay.
It could be a 1, 2. You're not going to get much from it, but yeah, a 1. Okay. So you've got 2 dice. Now you could roll those 2 dice, and it's a success or fail. All you need is not to get a 1, and you're good.
Okay.
Oh wait, I take it back. All you need is to get a 1, and you're good.
Okay.
You've got 2 dice.
Right.
So feel free to roll those, or you can look over at your pool, which I'm going to arbitrarily say has 6 dice in it at the moment.
Okay. It does, in fact. So yes.
All right then. So you can choose to put in as many dice as you please. And let's just go ahead and have, well, never mind the but. That means we'll just explain. Okay. Screw it. You'll see. Why bother explaining?
Okay.
So
all right, I'll put 3 dice in.
Perfect. Now, so you don't have to have them be different colors from the first 2, but why not?
Okay.
If you want. So it's not like it's all that necessary. But as long as you put in 3. Okay.
Yes.
Roll your 5 dice.
No ones.
Okay. Well, we would have done a little role playing to understand what was going on. And in the interest of this example, let's say I was required to tell you if your life and limb were on the line here, by the way, and I didn't. So the default is that it's not.
Okay.
Right. So you're lucky in that regard, right? He doesn't eat you.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm going to say, you are rendered helpless, before the freezing fear of the soul-sucking, ghoul, and you are, savagely bundled up, and whisked off to its lair. And I'm not kicking things down the road. I'm going to hurt your character. I'm going to, it whatever it was you're seeking, you can now see that it's, under its control, not yours. I mean, this was all bad news for you, right? So, so you are, injured, and you're all kinds of in trouble. By the way, those 3 dice that you gambled, they're gone.
Got it.
Your pool is 3. All right. So, who knows? I actually might even, basically the ghoul probably took your religious talisman. Right. Probably took it.
Right.
So that doesn't mean it's like gone from the game, that it's not yours anymore. It does mean that I have it for now. If you want it, get it back.
Yes.
So the important thing is that you have now seen what happens if you failed. You lose whatever. We might have been a little clearer on exactly what was at stake for the roll, and then that way narrating the failure would be better. But the point is that narrating a failure in the pool, you don't want to. The GM does not want to just kick the can down the road. Right. I don't just take you to the cave where you can have another fight with a ghoul. The ghouls.
Right.
We're not doing that. There's going to be plot suffering must happen, right? Well, let's go ahead and say you succeeded.
Okay.
Doesn't matter how many ones you get. There's no degrees of success. Now, here's your choice. First of all, those 3 dice go back into your pool.
Okay.
Right? But then here's your choice. You could either let me say what happens, and I am constrained to give a standard success, a fairly boring, clear-cut what happens without any reaching into any other bags I may have around. Just this, that's what was going on. You succeeded with whatever it was you were doing. Solve the problem. What next? That would be me. And if you let me do that, then you get to add another die to your pool.
Okay.
But let's say you don't. Let's say, you know what? I like my 6. I'll keep it at 6. And I'll narrate what happens. Your narration can't change the success or failure, the success of it.
Right.
And you don't have backstory authority. You can't say, Andy's my father.
Right.
You can, however, say lots of things about what happens. Do you bring the ghoul under your control with the religious talisman? Do you shred it apart in a blast of holy light? Do you barely manage to struggle your way past it, but get to the thing you were seeking?
Okay.
Right? In other words, you can narrate your basic success against the fact that this thing's trying to kill you in lots of ways. As long as you stay like right there in the situation, you're fine. And I would, for that last example, I would stress that remember how I said everything all came together and you knew that the thing was right here and all that? That would have to be part of the picture in order for you to narrate that you went and you got it. You couldn't just like say, oh, and it's right here. That's not how it works. Do you see what I mean?
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So that's how the pool works. But let's take a look at a few things. Number one, you can see that the pool doesn't represent a damn thing in the fiction. It's only how things are going for you at the moment.
Right.
Notice that if your pool gets really low or down to 0, you could stick to doing pretty easy stuff as best you could, right? So that you would only be rolling
Yeah.
your gift dice and your traits. But
Right.
you would, but so you could get up to like 5 dice that way, right? So,
Yes, you could.
so the point is that you would do that if you could, insofar as I'm not dropping pterodactyls on you, but you could do that, and you could also, and so build up your pool just by having me narrate, right? You could do that if you want. You can also keep in mind that if your pool's getting nice and hefty, that at any time you can turn in pool dice for pluses on your sheet, pluses on your traits.
Oh, okay.
Right. That's how you got them in the first place. I gave you a bunch of dice and said that's your pool. Now, blow a bunch of them on, putting a bunch of pluses on there. Right. So you do.
Yeah.
And then at that point, you can therefore, reduce your pool in order to get a bunch of more permanent stuff on there. At the end of your session, you get to add a sentence and do a little editing to your paragraph. And all your traits are just underlined stuff in the paragraph.
Right.
So no matter what, you play the pool, your paragraph gets longer. This happened. I am this. I have changed. I am now like this.
Right. Okay.
You get to add some words. And you get to edit a few things. Like you could say, you could begin as, I am a brave follower of such and such deity. Well, now you could say, I am no longer a brave follower of such and such deity. All that's fine. And if you say, and you go, you could even underline that no longer a follower part. See, first you underline the deity, and that was a trait.
Right.
Now you write that and you say, hey, wait a minute, that's good enough for a trait. Underline it. And you know what? I'm going to put a pool die. Okay, that's a +1. No longer a follower. Right? That's a trait.
Okay.
Stuff like that.
Nice.
So the point, but that's what you do, is that you basically, since that paragraph, if you play long enough and if you're playing with a good will, it'll start breaking into paragraphs.
Right.
So you're really actually doing something pretty profound. And the trading off in the moment of monologues with content, with like plot effect. They call it the monologue of victory when you choose to do that.
Right.
Versus the fact that you don't try to keep your pool high. That's, people misread it all the time and say, oh no, what if the pool gets low? Fuck it. It's not your fucking hit points, okay?
Right.
It goes up and down. It goes up and down. It's supposed to go up and down. You're supposed to be sucking wind on your pool every so often. You're supposed to be flush every so often. Doesn't matter when, as long as you recognize that now we know what's up with your guy in terms of, is it a bad day for him or not?
Right.
So that's pretty much all. But do you see how there is immense interplay between system, content, and system at different levels? I mean, we were just talking about like one resolution, and yet it is intimately tied with character improvement and the overall picture of fictionally who this character is. What is our saga, right?
Right.
And it's super simple.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is that when you look at something like that, and then you sit down with a bunch of people and you say, okay, let's customize a bunch of traits for our characters. Here, everybody, you get these points, and you can buy like story stuff with the points. You can spend this point and the guy at the docks, or you spend this point and you get an extra degree of success on that roll you made, and stuff like that. This is really lame design in comparison.
Right.
I mean, there's nothing there in play like that. One of the problems with being able to invent stuff into a situation, it can be really great, and then other times it's lame. It's like, oh, well, there are these locusts. Okay, I invent a brewer of potions, and she can make an anti-locust potion. So what? You just hamster wheel everything. Right?
Okay.
And
That's
so,
interesting. Yeah.
And so what I'm trying to now I know that there are times when being able to put things into the situation is a brilliant and awesome thing. There are times in games where that stuff matters. There are times when it's just when it obviates play.
Okay.
Well, why am I here? Why am I here if all I have to do is invent the solution?